Ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the last speaker for today's session. Let me invite Professor Amarulla Octavian. He's a Vice Admiral from the Indonesian Navy and currently the Rector of the Republic of Indonesia Defense University. Admiral Octavian, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Professor Chair. Honorable Vice Chancellor of General Sir John Kotelawala Defense University, distinguished all speakers, General, Admiral, Air Marshal, Professor, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. First of all, allow me to thank the General Sir John Kotelawala Defense University and the Committee of the 14th International Research Conference for inviting me to deliver some academic perspective related to security, stability, and national development in the new normal. Mana slide-nya?
Yes, we can hear you very clearly. Please continue.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Before starting my presentation, please allow me to briefly introduce myself. I graduated from Indonesian Naval Academy in 1988 and served as a Navy officer who has embarked on several frigate and corvette in both Eastern and Western Fleet Command. Ladies and gentlemen, as an introduction, I would like to share a brief overview of the international community experience in dealing with various pandemics from time to time. We all should remember how dangerous Black Death was in 1346, as well as cholera that occurred in 1817. Then after the First World War, the Spanish flu emerged in 1920. A few decades ago, HIV emerged in 1976, and SARS-CoV-1 occurred in 2003. Although experts are capable to make vaccine or medicine for treating such diseases, new diseases always emerge as the result of interaction between human and animal that carry the disease and or deviation in human lifestyle. Such pandemics certainly disrupt human security and economic stability in many countries throughout the world. Since the emergence of COVID-19 pandemic in the beginning of last year, all of us have seen the WHO role in dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Even though the WHO has done a lot of address the pandemic, many countries still view the WHO as not functional well to meet the world needs in overcoming the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite some previous pandemic that the world had experienced, such as HIV and SARS-CoV-1, WHO doesn't have a credible system to predict the possibility of a new disease outbreak. WHO is not yet capable to coordinate developed countries for assisting developing countries in preparing their health sector workforces, readiness, and medicine self-sufficiency. WHO is also deemed unable to coordinate developed countries for assisting developing countries in preparing their health sector workers' readiness and medicine self-sufficiency. On the other hand, many countries have not viewed pandemic as a common problem to be dealt together. Some countries even use the pandemic to control other countries. Several parties even gain benefit from the repeatedly occurring pandemic. For instance, Indonesia has experienced rapid surge of masker price and oxygen generator price. More health assistance should be provided in the name of humanity. No parties are allowed to take any advantage from people who suffer from the COVID-19 pandemic. From a security perspective, there is a concern regarding irresponsible parties such as transnational organized crimes, who are capable of engineering biocrimes and bioattack. Therefore, we need to prepare the future concept for the new normal era after the COVID-19 pandemic. We all should learn from this pandemic experience, which has caused so many victims and disruption to economic stability that led to the increase of unemployment and criminality rates. We all cannot afford to repeat the same mistake after the previous pandemic end. We all must agree that the threat of future pandemic is as dangerous as the threat of war. The non-military defense scheme to prevent and fight pandemics which might still occur in the future is by strengthening health sector institutions. The next concept is the importance of pharmaceutical industry self-sufficiency, starting from the upstream industry to downstream industry. No less important is developing a new culture in the community toward a more hygienic lifestyle practiced by the people. Ladies and gentlemen, to attain health resilience in the new normal era, the state should take new role and format. One of the high priority state format is to strengthen the state institution and state apparatus. Non-military defense scheme development start from the strengthening state intelligence and military institution. The combined power of state intelligence and military institution is projected on bio-intelligence and bio-defense aspect to anticipate bio-war, namely war that use biological weapon as weapon of mass destruction. The cooperation of these two vital institutions are also directed to develop the capability for detecting endemics and epidemic in other regions that could possibly turn into pandemic while also preventing pandemics. I believe this capability requires the formulation of new procedure which will be followed by the establishment of effective military operational unit that have bio-warfare capability. Next, the Ministry of Defense could also develop an effective non-military defense scheme to carry out bio-intelligence, bio-defense, and biosecurity. The next state format is to strengthen government institution and government apparatus, where police is one of the main government institutions who has to strengthen the structure and organization to carry out biosecurity. The police also need assistance from numerous regional government civil service units to effectively respond to the unintended consequences from health protocol implementation. With this format, the police is expected to be able to implement the social control function for monitoring the community compliance level in the next pandemic, if it has come again. At the government level, it is important in the new format to broaden the authority to direct the regional government in dealing with pandemics. Those authorities are required to enable the local government in implementing the central government policy regarding health protocol in accordance with the local government authority limit. Ladies and gentlemen, beside the post-pandemic state format, the role of the state is also a key factor for the successful implementation of the new normal concept. The role of the state is divided into the active and participatory role of some state institutions and government agencies. The active role of the Ministry of Defense, along with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, is aimed at developing the required foreign policy as a legal basis for cooperating with other countries and or international organizations in detecting and preventing a new pandemic. The foreign policy is expected to empower various parties in the health sector to be more active in developing various means for health resilience. The Ministry of Health can also take a dominant portion in its active role. In accordance with the new foreign policy, the Ministry of Health could draft regulation on the new function of health sector workers, medical facilities, and pharmaceutical industry as national critical infrastructure. The ratio of the three aspects as national critical infrastructure must be balanced against the number of population in each area or zone within a country. Unbalanced ratio could result in the accumulated contamination that may increase drastically. The next is the active role of the Ministry of Finance to develop an effective state financial mechanism and scheme to overcome pandemic. To meet the need for health personnel, health facilities, and medicine, sufficient budget should be allocated in accordance with the applicable mechanism and scheme during state of civil emergency when a pandemic occurs. If necessary, this mechanism and scheme also have to apply in the state of military emergency and wartime. Ladies and gentlemen, the next role of the state is the participatory role of some state institutions and government agencies. Compared to the active role that I have explained earlier, this participatory role is aimed at state institutions and government agencies, which may not be the main actor in dealing with a pandemic. The participatory role of the Ministry of Social, along with regional government, is to prepare disease alertness system in the region as a part of a non-military defense scheme. This social system is deemed effective enough by prioritizing the active role of the NGO and public figures, local traditional figure, religious figure, and youth figure. These figures are non-formal leaders in the society who requires examples of complying with all health protocols. Next is the participatory role of the Ministry of Interior, whose the role is directed more at improving local government and their organization to activate the regional hospital monitoring system of and local health care center or medical facilities to treat patients who suffer from pandemic. The police also has a participatory role to urge the development of a patient monitoring system to collaboratively ensure people compliance with the health protocol in the society. The success of the police and law enforcement apparatus in implementing social sanction has to be put forward in order to make people aware of assisting each other in the community during the pandemic. As a control function, the police can also draft regulation to prevent police personnel from committing any illegal act that violate the law when dealing with the people who do not comply with the health protocol. It is very important for the police to maintain their image to ensure the people's sincere compliance with the health protocol. Ladies and gentlemen, to end the presentation, I can inform that the new format and role of the state also have to be directed to ensure national development implementation during the pandemic. The state cannot stop production and it must win against COVID-19. According to the state system, the parliament has to draft a law that grant authority to the state in accordance with the post-COVID-19 pandemic's new format and role. The state format is directed toward protecting the state by setting immunity against pandemic and anti-pandemic. The state format for pandemic immunity is a condition where the people have reached herd immunity, although there is a vulnerability for the emergence of a new pandemic. Whereas the state anti-pandemic format is all of our hope to close the vulnerability of a new pandemic. While the role of the state is projected to increase the effectiveness of the active and participatory role of various state and government institutions, the community involvement is very crucial to achieve pandemic or anti-pandemic influence. The role emphasizes the state duties to fight pandemic are the direct responsibilities of the head of state. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all my presentation. Thank you for your kind attention. May this presentation contribute a new thinking on how we could live a better life after the COVID-19 pandemic. I thank you.
Admiral Professor Amarulla Octavian, you have a helicopter view, 360-degree view. In fact, KDU graduated with a PhD, our current Foreign Secretary. Again, another admiral and a professor. So I want to thank you for your wide-ranging presentation where you discussed about how different sectors of government should rise to the occasion and to fight the pandemic, because that is the apex national security threat facing most nations of the world.